Welcome back to episode 2 of the Mafia Lounge. Unfortunately, coming off of Bills' playoff loss to Cincinnati Bengals. I really would have hoped for the Bengals to win and go back to the playoff or Super Bowl until after that game. Seeing how ignorant, disrespectful everything that the players were, it just blew my fucking mind. I was not expecting that at all. Definitely was not expecting them to make the comments that they've made, whether it be via social media or, whatever it was. It just blew my fucking mind, some of the shit that they had said, when referencing to Damar Hamlin, go get your refund. To me, that was just there was no sportsmanship there. The Bills players would have had more class than to have sat there and done that. So I guess maybe that's why it kind of just wow, blew me away seeing that, especially Eli Apple fucking posting the shit that he is on social media, but then turning around going, oh, it's no disrespect to Damar Hamlin though. Dude, you can't sit there and say that when you're putting the shit that you are on social media, saying on 3 with the fucking heart, heart emoji shit. No. To me, there's just no sportsmanship there whatsoever. None, which is so baffling considering how everything that happened in Cincinnati when the Damar Hamlin thing happened, that seeing how everybody reacted to that showed me that there was humanity left in the world. And I actually talked about that on my first show. So to sit there and see the Bengals organization turn around and act the total opposite this week after beating us in the playoff game, which Ken Dorsey, sorry bud, you gotta go. You're not an offensive coordinator. You are 100% your quarterback's coach. You are not an offensive coordinator. You have a lot of work to do before you are ready to take that role as an offensive coordinator. So I think that is step number 1 for the Bills. Personally, Bills defense looked like shit. I think there's something needs to be done with that. Sorry, Leslie Frazier. But, defense looks moderately decent during the regular season, and then the playoffs every year so far with Leslie Frazier, the defense just absolutely fucking crumbles and falls apart in the postseason. That's got to go. That has to go. But my whole point was, everybody, there was just so much hospitality and, a lot of humanity that came together when Damar Hamlin happened, when that whole incident happened. So to sit there and see, them sitting on the fucking sidelines, talking shit and just saying disrespectful things, it just to me, there was no sportsmanship there. None whatsoever, to where I hope Kansas City, I hope Mahomes, you need to get your shit together, bud. They need to come out, and I hope they fucking stomp the piss out of Cincinnati. I hope the Kansas City Chiefs stomps the absolute piss out of Kansas City, or out of Cincinnati in Kansas City. I really hope they do. I may or may not have ordered a Kansas City jersey just for this fucking game. Specifically for this game. I've never been against Patrick Mahomes. Never have. I've always liked Travis Kelce. I've always liked, Patrick Mahomes. Edwards-Helaire is a fucking beast. They have a very fucking stacked team to where, even though they lost Tyreek Hill, it was nothing. Tyreek Hill was one good player in their dozen of good players. So, when I saw them get rid of Tyreek Hill, it wasn't shit to me. I didn't think shit of it. I was kind of baffled because he was their biggest receiver for them. He had a lot of, I should say he was more of their clutch guy. He was more of their clutch person. So it was really surprising to see them get rid of him. But I knew that they were going to be okay. They're not going to get rid of him if they didn't know that they were going to still be a champion, Super Bowl contending team. That's just the reality of it. So, to see the Chiefs still play as good as they did this year didn't surprise me one bit. Especially when you got somebody like Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback. Born and raised Buffalo, New York, diehard Buffalo fan. But I'm going to recognize what needs to be recognized. Patrick Mahomes is a great fucking quarterback. That dude does shit that nobody can explain, just like Josh Allen. I had a lot of respect for Joe Burrow, honestly, till this last game. Even with hearing the shit about him, how he is outside of football, and how he's actually very ignorant to his fans and stuff. Even though, newsflash, Joe, you get paid because of them people that come up and ask you for them autographs. If it wasn't for them, you'd still be wiping your ass with normal toilet paper, bud. But so like I still had respect for him on the aspect of the football player that he is. But I kind of lost that for him too after Sunday. Totally lost it for him even after that. Instead of being a humble football player, he made sure the first thing he sat there and said on live TV was, "Get your refunds to the Bills Mafia." Like, no Bills player would have ever sat there and said that. And I can sit there and say that because the last how many years of the Bills actually consistently going to the playoffs now, they've never done that after a playoff win. They've been respectful of the other team. Josh Allen goes out, even after the Cincinnati loss, Josh Allen went out to Joe Burrow and made sure that he said something to him, because that's just how Josh Allen is. Josh Allen will sit there and give you advice of, hey, been there, done that, good luck, wish you the best. So for him to turn around and have his response of, go get your refunds, like, to me that was a disrespect thing. Like, there was no sportsmanship there. It was purely out of nothing but disrespect, and that's to me, that's wild. That is fucking wild, because it made me lose all respect for the Cincinnati Bengals, and just, I hope that they lose now, honestly. I was kind of hoping that it would be, either the Eagles versus the Bengals, or 49ers versus the Bengals, because on that aspect, I don't care who wins, whether it be the Eagles or the 49ers. I think the Eagles are going to win that, but I think that's going to be a really good fucking game though too. But my whole point was that, I didn't care. I thought it was going to be the Bengals going back to the Super Bowl. They were going to get the revenge year, and now I hope they don't. I really hope that they don't, to be honest. I hope they have to swallow another hard dick, and they gotta fucking sit and watch another year of their dreams getting fucking crushed. Because honestly, when it happens, it's just gonna be karma for them. It's just gonna be karma. Because of their lack of sportsmanship after their win in Buffalo. It was a good game. The Bengals played phenomenal. I'm not gonna take that away from them. They played fucking phenomenal all the way around. Defense, offense, special teams, they fucking played. And the Bills didn't. The Bills did not play. Josh Allen, you looked like shit. You're still my quarterback, and I'm still going to you are our franchise. You are the future of our fucking organization. You are going to bring a championship to Buffalo. But the reality is, yes, on Sunday, you looked like fucking shit. You were overthrowing passes. You were not completing passes. You looked like garbage in the pocket, which is not you. You were taking sacks you don't normally take. All around, the Bills' offensive line looked like garbage. There was a lot of shit. What's up, Mila? You want to say hi? This is my dog, Mila. Bills fan as well. Every Sunday, rocking the Josh Allen jersey. Yes, I know. Yes, I know. You're just curious. Had to come see what Daddy was doing. Yeah, Papa Squat. Offensive line looked like garbage. The defense, they were letting runs Joe Mixon was busting out runs left and right. Then Joe Burrow, was hitting wide open passes to Hurts, to Higgins, to fucking to Jamar Chase. Like, everybody that he's throwing the ball to is left wide fucking open. The defense just wasn't there. To be honest, it reminded me of my little brother's high school team. It was like watching them fucking play. It was like watching, him and his high school team versus another high school team. Yeah, it was crazy. Absolutely crazy. The defense, something needs to change. And I know what it is. And I think everybody knows what it is. I've seen an awful lot of outspurts. Unfortunately, it's Leslie Frazier. Dude, I'm sorry. But we've had better defensive coaches. And during the regular season, we're all right. Our defense is all right. It's okay. Like, yeah, we've got a pretty good defense during the regular season, but it could be better. And with the people we have on our defense, it should be better. And then going into postseasons, how many years are we going to sit there and watch the defense completely fucking shit the bed and lose us the game? Last year, Kansas City, 18 seconds. I'm sorry, 13 seconds is what it was. That's all I got to say. Every fucking Bills fan knows what I'm talking about by saying that. 2021-22 season, postseason, Kansas City in Arrowhead, 13 seconds. That's all you got to say. And they will know exactly what the fuck you're talking about. There's a lot of people during this offseason that are due for re-signing that I don't think should be re-signed. Tremaine Edmonds I've been saying it for years, is one of them. Sorry, dude. You're not as good as your brothers. Your brothers are definitely better than you. You are a shit ass linebacker, dude. And anybody that you can sit there, if you're a Tremaine Edmonds fan, I'm sorry. But if you truly know football and you truly watch him play, that dude fucking blows plays left and right. He blows plays more than he does anything else. Maybe a handful of times this year alone that I've actually seen him make a play. He had what, one interception? That was it? One pick. Dude, get the fuck rid of him. Find somebody else to put next to Milano, because Milano, that's a fucking linebacker. Milano is a linebacker. That dude that's how you play linebacker. That, like, everybody blows up Tremaine Edmonds. Like, no, Milano, that's the dude right there. That is who we should be like, that's the guy that should be getting his money. He makes the plays. He plays his ass off every game. He very rarely misses, botches a play or misses something. Like, that dude is on point 98% of the time. Tremaine Edmonds, especially during the playoffs, holy fuck. I'd take just about anybody over him, especially playoff Tremaine Edmonds, because that dude fucking sucks in the playoffs. Fucking sucks in the playoffs. Especially if you need him to actually make a play. He will fuck it all up. Alright guys, if you guys are looking for any workout supplements, check out blackstonelabs.com and use the code BSANTON92 and you'll get 10% off on all your orders. They have everything for bulking, anything that you need for building muscle, shredding down, getting ready for a show. They have pro hormones. They have everything that you will need. Go ahead and check them out. I will post the link in the bio and I will also post it on the bottom of the screen here. Go ahead and check them out. I use all their stuff, and even when I actively competed, it was the best shit I've ever used. It had me in the best shape of my life. And now that I am done with my medical issues and I'm back to lifting, I am back to using their supplement. Their shit is the best stuff out there. I've used I've tried every company out there. Every time a new company comes out, I usually try their stuff just to give it a whirl, see how it is. Blackstone Labs is definitely the best company out there. You get the best supplements for your money. Definitely go check them out. Need to get rid of Tremaine. Definitely need to figure out something on that aspect. Getting rid of him. Finding somebody new for that linebacker slot, because he's by far not the answer. Like I said, they need to find somebody that'll work good with Milano, strengthen up that aspect. Yeah, there definitely just needs to be a lot of change on that defense. So hopefully they can make them changes during this offseason. Hopefully they can make some re-signs during this offseason, because there's some, people like Jordan Poyer who I don't think we need. I don't think we can lose him. Him and Hyde coming back next year, we definitely need to keep Poyer and that Hyde combo together. Like, that would just be too big of a loss if we lose that combo of them two. So yeah, definitely need to figure out something with that. But so now I got my chest that cleared off of my chest for the Bills. Hopefully they go good. Sabres fucking killing it lately. You know, they still got the whole second half of the season to go, but they're playing fucking strong. Coming off of 2 wins in a row. Last night they won against St. Louis. Before that they won against, I believe it was Anaheim. Yes, I believe it was Anaheim. They might be on a 3-game winning streak. I haven't, been working so much, I haven't been able to keep up with a whole bunch with that. So moving forward though with sports, I think I'm gonna have my boy Big Baby on here on the next episode. So we'll be able to talk with him with this rap shit, a little bit of career stuff. I know I have some of my correction stories, so we'll get into a little bit about that stuff with him. Get into some of my stories from corrections and stuff like that. My everyday stuff. We like to just shoot the shit and make jokes. So I know when he's on here with me, it's gonna be pretty goddamn funny. It'll be more of a comedy thing rather than sports talk. We might talk a little bit about sports just to get his perspective when it comes to, as we go through the playoffs here, coming up into the Super Bowl and the AFC and NFC championship and stuff like that. So that'll be fun having him on here. So definitely subscribe. Keep an eye out for these videos coming up. I know these first couple videos here have just been me flabbling on about sports and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll have him on here the next episode. He'll be coming on with me, and you'll see more of that comedy aspect of him and I, especially with him and I together, because it's really all we fucking do. We really just fuck around and we laugh and have some fun. I know he finds it funny as shit, the things I do. Fucking just being a mechanic right now. I run into some really fucking stupid shit, some really stupid fucking people. Deal with some really stupid shit. And just everyday shit, honestly. Just things we deal with on an everyday that we can make jokes out of. Maybe things that people deal with too that, they might be able to relate and get a laugh out of. So definitely keep an eye out for these videos coming up. You'll definitely enjoy them. You'll definitely have fun watching them. They'll definitely be funny as shit. I'm gonna start branching out, getting more than just on YouTube. We're gonna start posting things on stuff like iTunes, just for listening, not really the video aspect, but just the recording aspect, so you'll be able to listen to the podcast, not just watch them. People use Spotify. I'm looking into getting something linked up with Spotify. So we'll definitely be coming up a little bit more with it. I got a new camera coming. It's costing me a fucking fortune. So got some new cameras coming, all kinds of shit coming. So it's about to be getting really fucking cool doing this. I've got a room getting set up for it. So, and it's going to be kind of just completely decked out. Bills, Buffalo, New York shit. Just really going to, be more of a setting for our hometown here in Buffalo, so even if, move, go somewhere else, still be that Buffalo setting, because, it is the Mafia Lounge. That's just what we do. We lounge around, we chill. That's why you see me sitting on the couch, because we just chilling. It's just us chilling, having a good time, just talking just to talk, and, have other people enjoy some of the shit we've been through. Shit that we deal with, stuff like that. Some of the stuff I did want to get into today was some of my corrections experiences. Anybody that's worked corrections, they totally understand this. Like I said, I know I've worked a lot of corrections in Kentucky, which is a lot different than places like New York, or even, if you work corrections in places like California or Texas especially, it's a lot different in everywhere you go. Kentucky, definitely fucking different in Kentucky. When I worked in corrections in Kentucky, I used to be really big into bodybuilding before I had some medical issues. So when I was a corrections officer in Kentucky, I was really probably at my biggest, about 265 pounds. with probably about 10-12% body fat. So I was pretty big, pretty muscular. But yeah, you know, if you've ever worked in a prison, you know how inmates are. You know, they try to act like they gangster as shit. Um, but yeah, I'll never forget first time ever stepping foot into a prison there, and the shortest dude on the dorm, shortest one, literally tried to fucking chest up to me, and he tried giving me an attitude, you know, like, oh, you know, this is our house, blah 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 blah, that usual bullshit that they try to pull. And I literally gained his respect by telling him that this wasn't prison, this was Disneyland. You know, you guys can order keyboards and game systems and everything else. Motherfucker, you are in Disneyland. You are not in prison. Don't act all gangster to me. Do not act all hard to me. If you want to see a real prison, go to New York. You know, come up here to Buffalo, New York. Go to Attica Prison. Go to Rikers. Go to any of these prisons up here, really. And you'll see a real prison. And, but yeah, that backed him down real quick. As soon as I told him that he's at, you know, fucking Disneyland. He's down in Orlando Studios right now. That it wasn't prison. That made him fucking sit down real quick. And I even told him too, like, yo, you're the smallest one. What the fuck? Like, what made you think to come up to the biggest CO on the dorm as being the smallest inmate and try popping your mouth off? Really thinking I was gonna sit down and like back down or anything like that. But like I said, I mean, it got me respect from them because they realized I wasn't gonna be pushed around easy. But at the same time too, I was always consistent too. So if I was a dickhead about something, I was a dickhead to everybody about something. But you know, I just treated everybody with respect. I chose to step in there and do that as a job. So, you know, if they respected me, I showed them the same respect. But at the same time, though, I've seen some really wild shit. Really wild shit. Yeah, you definitely learn that, especially if you know never done any of this stuff for a living. You know, you just hear from the outside or see the movies where people suck dick for a bag of ramen noodles. You know, when you're gonna become a CO, you really realize people do that shit. I remember the first time I ever fucking, you know, heard inmates, you know, doing some nasty shit in a cell. And I came to find out it really was for a bag of ramen noodles. I could not fucking believe it. Could not believe it. I was like, wow, it really is just like the fucking movies. As in that aspect, like, y'all are really doing some shit just for a bag of ramen noodles. Like, that blew my fucking mind. Like, I couldn't fucking believe it. And then, of course, you got the other people that were making hooch in a toilet and everything else. And I don't know. That's me. You know, I ain't drinking fucking prison liquor that came out of something where somebody's shitting in. That's not me. Anytime I used to catch them when they were drunk as shit, I'd always tell them, like, man, I can tell you're drunk because your breath smells like shit. That's how I know you're drunk. You made that liquor in the shitter, so now your breath smells like shit. Oh yeah, tons of stories from working in a prison. People hiding stuff up their ass. I mean, it's clear as day. Clear. Anytime they put something up their butt to hide it, they always tie a string to it. So when you got to do, you know, a strip search because they're going into seg. So that's where most of my time was spent as a CO, was working in the segregation unit. So anytime a new inmate comes up, you gotta, you know, strip search them and stuff. So now you see inmates come up in the middle of a strip search, it's clear as day, see a string hanging out of their butthole, and you tell them to take it out, and then they play stupid like, what? There's nothing there. There's nothing there. Coincidentally, after you spray them with OC or vapor or whatever, you know, somehow, some way, all of a sudden, you know, there is something up their ass, and they pull it out. Yeah, I've seen everything in the prison. It's some funny shit. I've seen some pretty funny shit. I've heard some funny shit. I've seen some shit that would cause a normal person PTSD, but you know, going through some shit I've gone through in my life, which you'll hear in other episodes that I'll direct specifically towards PTSD and whatnot, about stuff from my childhood and growing up and stuff like that. But yeah, stuff that, you know, you see everything in a prison, especially when you're working in there. It's crazy. It's really crazy seeing the extents that of what people do to themselves, really just to go get high. I think that really was like the biggest mind blower for me, was seeing the extent that a human being will go to just so they can get out of their cell, go to a hospital, and get high. Not even anything else. Not the fact that they can go to the hospital, watch TV, see pretty nurses, get good food. No, they're going to get fucking high. Like, they just care about the Dilaudid and shit. Like, that's all they care about. Never in my right mind have I ever thought I'm going to stuff something up my dick, shove something up my ass, cut myself. Nothing. None of that. Never have ever thought in my life. But obviously, I've never been in that situation. Oh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Never been in that situation to really ever, where they have been, but this shit blew my mind. Like, it always used to blow my mind, the extent that people would go to just to go get high. And little insight on me, I had a drug problem once in my life. I did. I had a pill problem once in my life. Lower tabs, Percocets, Narcos, like those were my poisons. Tons of surgeries from the time I was 13 till I was 17. So naturally got addicted, had a pill problem. So, I mean, I understand on the drug aspect, but I never in my life could ever see myself going to the extent of what I've seen people do in a prison. Like, it blows my mind. I've seen people cut themselves. And when I say cut themselves, I mean they've cut themselves. I have saved people's lives from bleeding out because they've cut themselves so bad. And in the end, it was just so they can go get high. Just so they can go get Dilaudid at a prison. And I'm like, hey, what the fuck? Like, what is wrong with you that you feel like you need to do that just to go get high? Like, that is, to me, like, that is fucking wild. Like, that is a whole new level of addiction. Maybe because you're locked up in a segregation unit, it's just... Excuse me. God damn. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Anywho, maybe, just being locked up in a segregation unit is just pure boredom. So they just want to go get high. I don't know what the fuck it is. But it just fucking blows it's always blew my mind. I think the craziest thing was seeing a 22, I believe he was 22 at the time. He was never going to get out of prison. He was doing 20 years in a Kentucky prison. Once he did his 20 years there, he had to go up to Indiana and he was doing another 20 years up in Indiana once he got out of Kentucky. So, he was doing 40 years. He openly admitted, I'll never make it out of prison alive. It was sad that was his outlook, but, he had crimes that were involved, armed robbery. That's what his charges were, from Kentucky and in Indiana. But this kid, for some reason, he liked to shove things up his ass. And I will never forget, one of the days I went in, I worked night shift, 7 p.m., 7 a.m. I came in and he really liked me. Again, because I was just a consistent CO. I came in and I'm here to do a job. I understand you guys are here 24/7. You guys don't go home like I do, but I'm here to do a job. So if you respect that, I will respect the fact that you guys live here and that I'll respect the fact that you guys get your phone calls and, you guys get your showers this amount, these days of the week, and this, if you guys want a book to read, I did my job. I wasn't a lazy CO. I did everything that I should have done as a CO, and inmates respected that. Like that, I was consistent. Every day I went in, I did my job as a CO, as I was supposed to do, and that was that. If you showed me respect, I showed you the same level of respect you showed me. It was that simple. And so I had a lot of respect from inmates on that aspect. So he was one of the inmates that respected me. And I'll never forget that night I went in, and as soon as I got in, he called me, Sergeant B, come here. I gotta tell you something. And so I told him, give me a minute, let me just get situated. So I go, got myself situated at my desk and went over talking to him. And he's like, I did something during day shift. I just got back from the hospital. So I was like, okay, well, again, he was known for shoving things up his ass or this or that just to go out to the hospital, go get high. So it didn't really surprise me very much. So I was like, okay, what'd you do now? Because he would never do anything on my shift because of the level of respect he had for me. So he'd only do it on another shift. So he tells me that when he was given his shower, they gave him an electric razor to shave his face. He decided to turn it on and shove it up his own ass, just so that when they sent him to the hospital, he could hear the doctor's reaction when he heard the buzzing in his stomach. And I didn't believe him at first. So when the nurse came in for her shift, I asked her and I said, did so-and-so inmate really do this? And she lost her fucking mind. She was like, oh, that fucking idiot. Yes, the fuck he did. He shoved that fucking thing right up his ass, and all I heard was a fucking vibrating of it up in his intestines. And he sure shit did. He went. They rushed him in for emergency surgery, and then they released him right back to the prison, which I was really surprised that they did that. Having to do surgery on him. I'm sorry. I don't know why I keep yawning, guys. But yeah, it fucking blew my mind that he really did that. I mean, if you've seen an electrical razor, they're not small. I mean, that puts a fucking porn star. Wow. A porn star would probably be like, oh, good job, good job. Like they're fucking big. Like they're pretty thick. And yeah, but no, he shoved the whole thing just right up the ass. Shoved the whole fucking thing up there. Had to have surgery to have it removed, and then they shipped him right back to the hospital. He showed me, where they did the surgery on his stomach and shit to get it out. And it's fuck. I was like, and he was proud of it. Like that was the wild. Like this dude was proud of it. Like like I go home and I fucking finish building my car, or I fucking pull out. Because like I said, I'm a mechanic. I always have done that on the side as well. Of doing law enforcement for as many years as I did. So it's like I get proud about if I rebuilt my car. Or if I fucking, tore down something, rebuilt the garage or something. This dude's proud that he shoved a fucking electric razor up his ass. Like I joked with him at first, was like, what were you trying to, get your butt hairs and just, fucking it slipped up there? Like, or did you full on intentionally just fucking slam that fucker up there? Just no fucks given, just slammed it up that hole. And, but yeah, no, he intentionally slammed it up his ass just to go get high. Who does that? Me as a human being, I mean, me as normal, I don't, the average person, I guess, doesn't think of doing shit like that. So, I mean, to me, like, that was one thing that really just blew my mind was seeing that this dude rammed that thing clean up his ass. And he was so proud. I mean, when I got, by the time I got in, like I said, he was all fucked up on Dilaudid because he had surgery done, all kinds of shit. So he was all looped up. But it was just, it's wild to sit there and think about, like, there's an inmate and he's proud of doing that. Whereas the average person's like, oh, fuck, I got my master's degree. They're fucking accomplished. They feel pride. This fucking dude's feeling pride and that same level of pride and proudness for himself because he shoved a razor up his ass while it was on. Eye opener. Like, oh my God. Absolute fucking eye opener. I mean, there's another inmate, young kid, really young kid, in and out of prison his whole life. He had state raised tattooed across his back. I want to say he was only 20 or 21. He was a really young kid, and he had been in and out of prison his whole life. He liked to cut his nutsack open, though. He liked to literally just cut his nutsack open. He thought it was funny. And then he would rub the blood on the window, the little square window that you look through, when you're doing your rounds to check on them and stuff like that. Yeah, he would wipe the blood on that window, and he just got pure enjoyment out of cutting his nutsack open. It always fucking made me laugh because they would do it and they'd be perfectly fine. Wouldn't even bat an eye. They'd, cut themselves, do whatever they had to do. Wouldn't bat an eye. But goddamn, when they get back from the hospital, they whine so much. Oh, I'm hurting. Oh, it hurts. It hurts. Oh, it hurts. But then I'd always ask him, well, then why'd you do it? It didn't hurt when you did it. I looked right at you and told you, get on your knees. Let me cuff you up. I'm going to come in and cuff you up, or come to the door and cuff up. Whatever it was, the procedure was I had to do. You didn't bat an eye during that. You were perfectly fine. You're perfectly fine going to the hospital, not, no, oh, it hurts, no, nothing. Now that you're back, stitched up, this, that, and the next thing, now, oh, it hurts. Oh, you're in so much pain. I know. I mean, I guess I really shouldn't say that I never understood, because I guess I do understand, and it's because they wanted drugs. They thought that if they complained to the nurse, oh, I'm hurting, that instead of giving them ibuprofen 800 or 600, that they'll give them, a lower tab or something that'll fuck them up, or something that they can, pretend to take and then sell to an inmate, for whatever it is that they wanted. We'd have inmates shove coffee grounds, because when you go to SEG, you're not allowed to have anything with you. You can't have stuff like any of your commissary, so you can't have stuff like your coffee, your snacks, or any of that stuff that you buy from commissary. So we'd have inmates that would come up to SEG and they would shove coffee, the instant coffee grinds. They'd shove them up their ass, just so that when we strip search them, we wouldn't see it, wouldn't find it, whatever. And then they can poop it out in their cell, and then have coffee and hide it in their cell, and then have coffee while they're up in SEG. Never worked for them. Never worked for them. Never. They can never hold it in their ass long enough. I remember a guy, I'm not gonna lie, I slapped him up. He came up drunker than a fucking skunk, just drunk as shit, and he was a regular flyer into SEG and whatnot, and I remember him just trying to rush through the strip search, trying to rush to get to his cell. So we got him through the process, got him into a cell, and then it kind of clicked to me like, something's not right. He just, he wanted to get rushed to his cell a little too quick. He was a little too excited to get to that cell. So I pulled him back out of his cell as he was about to go sit on the shitter. And I pulled him and put him into one of the holding cells. And within about 5 minutes of being in the holding cell, he shit his pants. And in that was 2 bricks of fucking coffee. And when I say bricks, I mean like bricks of like, they would be equivalent to like bricks of, kilos of Coke. But it was coffee grinds. It was just the instant coffee grinds from the yard. This dude got himself drunker than fuck just to shove him up his ass to bring him into SEG for another inmate who was gang related. And I remember just looking at him and going, "That's why you're drunk, aren't you?" And he's like, "Yep," and it still didn't, it still hurt. So he got himself absolutely plastered just to shove this coffee up his ass, which didn't actually even alleviate anything. Got himself locked up in SEG. He was about to get released on his, because his time was up, but he bought himself an extra 30 days by doing this. So now, instead of getting out, I think he had 3 days left. So now, instead of getting out in 3 days, he had to do an extra 30 days in SEG, not even on the yard, in SEG. And his ass was hurting the whole time, because he fucking shoved those coffee grinds up his ass just to bring him in for another inmate who was gang related for whatever reason. Because, he was going to be out of prison before that dude ever got out of SEG. And yet, he still did it anyways, bought himself extra time in prison, 30 days more in prison, and bought those extra 30 days of being in SEG, where you're locked down for 23 hours a day. And this day you get a shower, the next day you get a phone call, and then it just, rotates back and forth. And then Monday through Friday you get an hour of rec. Saturday and Sunday, nothing. So it blew my mind. It always blew my mind, the extent. I know criminals have a different mindset. I understand that, but it always blew my mind the level that some people will go to just to, oh man, I don't even know. I don't know how to word that because, I mean, again, like I said, he was doing it for somebody that was involved in gangs. You know, it wasn't even for himself. So it's just like, okay, so you bought yourself extra prison time and everything else, and it's like, for what? What'd you do it for? Right? Did you get anything? Did you truly get anything out of it? Was it really worth it? I never really got those answers on it. But yeah, that always blew my mind, that the shit that people do even after they're locked up, because it's like, you know, as our job as a CEO, we're told that we're supposed to teach them. We're supposed to teach them so that they're rehabilitated once they go out to the street. And it's like, well, how the fuck are we supposed to do that when they're in prison? I'm catching people fucking smoking spice outside of their dorms. Like, you know, like, they're not learning anything. You got other COs bringing in dope for them. They're not learning anything. They're not learning anything at all, because they're still doing the same shit. And especially in Kentucky, the prisons, they're, if you want my personal opinion, the prisons in Kentucky are set up to make it to where the inmates, if they get sick of living on the streets and having to pay bills and do this, and they're sick of the normal human adult responsibilities, just go to prison. Just go to prison. You'll get whatever the fuck you want for free. And the only thing that sucks is you're told when you're allowed to fucking go outside, and when lights out are. But yeah, we turn the lights out at a certain time, but guess what? You got a TV. As the inmates have TVs in their room. They can buy PS3s, and they can buy Xboxes. They can buy fucking Game Boys. They can buy all that shit. And when they buy their TVs, they don't have to pay for their fucking cable. So guess what? During football season, they're all watching the fucking football games. As long as it's on TV, they're watching the football games. All the inmates watch the football game on fucking Sunday and Saturdays. They didn't miss those games, well, because they're locked up. No, they watched them in their cells on their TVs. They're flat screen TVs. Do they have 55, 60-inch TVs in their cells? No. They've got them out in the fucking common area, though. If their TV's a little too small for them in their cell, they just go out to the common area and they watch it on this 55-inch TV out in the common area. Now, right in front of me, like I said, I'm sitting on my couch because it's the Mafia Lounge. We're chilling on the couch. Right in front of me, I've got a 70-inch TV. They're sitting there watching for free everything that they want to watch on something not much smaller than what I've got in my living room right now. And I busted my fucking ass to afford that 70-inch TV. Just like I busted my ass to afford the 60-inch TV in my bedroom. Fucking crazy. So yeah, I mean, down in Kentucky, they're not really actually taught, I guess you can say, that prison's a punishment. It's almost like, to me, prison is shown to be, oh, you're just away from your family. You're just away from your family. A lot of them, I mean, fuck, when you sit there and talk to a lot of them, they don't even know their kids. They don't give a fuck. They don't even know their kids. They don't give a shit. And if they get back out, they're going to do exactly what they did before. They don't care. You can tell the ones that truly are like, man, I fucked up. I fucked up selling them drugs. And honestly, those are the ones that I was able to talk to and be like, listen, I get it. You got caught up in some drug shit. I've been there, done that in my life. Been there, done that in my life. But it's about what you do to make the change to be different. Some of them would take it, some of them wouldn't. You can always tell the ones that would listen to it and that truly were like, fuck, man, I need to when I get out, I got kids, I need to change, I need to, do something different. And those are the ones I would talk to and try to actually be like, hey, listen, dude, this is shit that I do to, keep myself out of trouble. These are things that you can do when you get out. Get this job. Get into working out. Or whatever, a hobby. If you like working on cars, get yourself a fucking project car. Find a cheap ass, beater ass car that you can find from anywhere from $200 to $500 and have that be your project. Spend the first bit of your time stripping everything down out of it. Build up that money while you're stripping everything down from it. Build up your money. Then as you're building up your money, slowly start buying shit to build up. You just gotta find those things that occupy yourself. And like I said, there was people that you could see that talking to like that, it would work. Then there's other ones where it was just like, yeah, there's nothing I fucking say to them. It don't matter when they get the fuck out, they're going right back to that gang shit. They're going right back to the drug shit. Doesn't matter what I say to them. They're going right back to whatever it is that they do. But you know what I tried, and that's the part of being a CEO is you got to at least try. If you decide to be a CEO, you have to know that you are making that choice. They're in there for a reason. You have to kind of just basically put blinders on to what they're in there for and realize that you chose to do that as a job. So you need to go in there with just they're human beings, treat them with respect as long as they treat you with respect. If they don't respect you, give them the same level of respect that they give you. That's exactly what I would live by doing it as a job. And I told them all the time, if you don't respect me, I'm not going to show you any respect. If you show me respect, I'll show you respect. It's that simple. If you don't show me any respect, then you cannot expect any respect from me. That's just how that works. I mean, if somebody comes up to you and is disrespecting you, you're not going to still respect them. You're going to show that your actions and your tone and it's all going to reciprocate what's being given to you. So anybody that watches this, if you are planning on law enforcement or anything like that, something to keep in mind. Definitely something to keep in mind because it is hard. It's stressful. You have to have a mindset to be able to lock yourself in an environment with criminals, because that's what you're doing. You're locking yourself in a building with criminals. Everything from mass murderers, and this is what I've worked with. I've worked with everything from serial killers to, I robbed a couple things from a store. I've worked with people that were notorious serial killers. I've worked with the guy who killed John Lennon from the Beatles. I've worked with, I've worked from there all the way down to, hey, I robbed a CVS. So you never know what you're going to get. You get everything in between: child molesters, child rapists, serial rapists in general, murderers, serial killers, and just petty thieves. You have everything. So you have to be able to have that mindset of, I'm locking myself in a fucking big ass building with these people. You gotta have that, now mind you too, I've also done a long time of mixed martial arts. I have fought in an octagon against other people. So I have a very extensive fighting background as well. That comes from, again, how I grew up, the environment I grew up in, to where I felt that I needed to do that to be able to always be able to defend myself. And it just happened to serve a purpose of what I chose to do for a living. So that's always something to keep in mind. So if you're watching this, you end up watching this, and you ever decide to go into that field, always keep that in mind. Always keep that in mind. It's always a good thing to always make sure that you have all your bases covered on your end to be able to protect yourself. Because it is very dangerous. It's just like being on the street as a police officer. It's very dangerous. You always being able to protect yourself is key. It's very key. Because you never know what you're going to run into. I've had some very funny moments in corrections, and I've had some very scary moments in corrections. I've had everything from having to fight with an inmate to having to give CPR to an inmate. So you really never know what you're going to run into. You really never know, but you always want to make sure you have your bases covered. If you don't know shit like CPR, obviously you get trained on it, but it's always good to take it upon yourself to learn more. I have children, so therefore, me personally, I've had to give one of my children CPR, unfortunately, but at the same time also saved my daughter's life. So I'm so grateful and glad that I have my training and my background, because I could be, one of my children I could have lost one of them had it not been for me knowing all that stuff. So I mean, there's definitely, if you ever decide or are thinking about going into that career field, definitely, there's a lot of stuff to think about. You're always more than welcome to message me directly through any of my social media sites. I am also one of those people that's very open to giving out my phone number, because I have always great with talking to people, especially whether it be career wise, whether it be PTSD and mental health wise, all that stuff. I'm always love to talk to people and help them out any way that I can. That's just how I am. But yeah, I mean, it's a great job. It's great. It's a great job. I miss it. I miss it now that I'm in mechanics. I love doing what I do for mechanics. I love building cars. I love fixing cars, all that aspect. But I definitely miss law enforcement as well. I miss doing corrections. It was fun. A lot of funny shit I've ran into, but then a lot of scary shit I've ran into as well. So it's kind of a mixture of both. Whereas, working on cars is different, obviously. I run into some really stupid shit that pisses you off, and then I run into some shit where it's just like you're scratching your head, and people are like, "Oh, well, I tried to do this at home," and you're like, "Did you know what you're doing? No? Then why the fuck did you try to do it?" You literally have the pads inside out, like they're backwards. Like what the fuck were you thinking? Or you have instances where people show up and I tried to do my brakes myself, and then you pull, there's no brake pads on the car, period, and it's like, what the fuck did you do? So I mean, no matter what you do, there's always gonna be different levels of stress, things that piss you off, all that. And you're gonna have good days, bad days, funny moments, bad moments. It doesn't matter what you do. You're always gonna have those moments. And like I said, I've got tons and tons of stories. You guys will hear from everything from mechanics to law enforcement. You will literally hear it all on the show. So some of those were you guys just heard today. You'll definitely hear plenty more. I will unfortunately share some of people that passed away on me. But I mean, yeah, like I said, I've got so many stories. So many stories. I know some of them, my boy Anthony, aka Big Baby, it's his, he's not heard some of these. So when we talk about some of these stories in the future episodes, it'll also be the first time he hears some of them. So yeah, it'll definitely be fun. So definitely tune in for future episodes. Stick around. Like I said, if anybody ever needs to talk about anything, you have questions about anything, feel free to reach out to me, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And if need be, where giving out a phone number works better, I will always do that as well. Always feel free to subscribe and direct message me through the YouTube channel as well. I am constantly on and checking out the Mafia Lounge, all their aspects on the page, whether it be all through social media or whatever. So definitely feel free to reach out, and I will see you guys on the next episode of the Mafia Lounge.